Fly Box. Today we're going to try and clear up a long time discussion or topic over how to properly tie in and wind a dry fly hackled collar. There's been a lot of different methods used, a lot of different methods taught as proper or improper. A lot of that's due to, over the years, the quality of genetic hackle or the lack of genetic hackle. Different breeders have different quality in their quills and hackle fibers, and a lot of that has bred a lot of the different theories on why they should be tied in a certain way or not. We're going to demonstrate 6 different ways, and I think this will help clear things up. This is how I was shown, and let's see what you think. We're going to start off with same size for all these. This is a size 10 hook. These are actually nymph hooks, so if you notice that, I'm using them as utility hooks for demonstration purposes. And I'm tying everything with 6 or 8/0 black uni thread. All these are tied off the same neck. All 6 feathers are trimmed from the same neck in the same method, the same length, to help demonstrate the difference. Okay, the first method we're going to tie in is a standard, is probably the most common. And make sure we start with the right direction here for demonstration. The most common you'll see is a stripped quill. You always want to, as a rule, your webbed portion of the dry fly hackle, you want to have no longer than 1/3 of the actual fiber length. So you'll want to trim up to that for dry fly. And you're going to strip your quill, and then you're going to strip a few more fibers on the side towards your wind. So for this feather, we're going to tie it in what was considered dry fly fashion, which is the dull side facing you, which would put the dull side facing the eye as you wind away from you. And you're going to tie it in at a 45-degree angle, and then wrap the stem along the shank of the hook, and then grabbing the hackle with your hackle pliers, you're going to wind forward. Now a lot of the debate is around whether or not you should wind dull side forward or shiny side forward. There are some reasons for that. Some are irrelevant at this point in the quality of hackle that's available, but others aren't. Traditionally, in Catskill patterns, you'll tie dull side forward, and when there was previous to good quality dry fly hackle and genetic hackle, that was a very important issue, because you wanted your footprint of your fly to be forward. The strength of the fibers to be leaning towards the front versus towards the rear in wet fly fashion. That made a difference then, and a little bit more than now. However, for consistency, I would still recommend for a dry fly collar like this, I recommend doing that, tying dull side forward, because all necks are not created equal, and you will see a difference at times where you will get hackle lean one way or the other. So there's a trimmed hackle with the leading edge stripped a little bit further, tied dull side forward. You can see your hackle properties and how they stack up. The next one we're going to tie in is going to be the same trim. However, the opposite side is going to be trimmed a little further, and we're going to tie that in shiny side forward, or dull side to the rear. And it's a strip barb tied in at 45 degrees. The hackle stem tied down along the shank of the hook. And then we're going to begin our wraps. And this is shiny side forward. And the reason for the method of stripping some of the fibers, a few extra fibers on the leading edge, is to avoid the hackles that tend to want to roll over or point to the rear. And a lot of us, over the years have just trimmed them off. Sometimes they'll happen, sometimes they don't. Sometimes even when you trim that leading edge just a little bit further of barbs, it still does it. And we'll whip finish. And there you have strip barbs, leading edge cleared, and wrapped shiny side forward versus dull side forward. Not a lot of difference. You'll see that as a common theme. Next we'll tie in strip barbs with no leading edge allowed. And this will be tied in dull side forward. And we're going to wrap our fibers, our hackle forward. I'm not really taking my time on these. I want to be able to get all this in on this video. And there's dull side forward, no leading edge. Notice we don't have any fibers to the rear. I might have just grabbed some of the hackle there, and I clipped that off, being in a hurry. What you'll also notice, if you haven't already, we're not trapping a lot of fibers to the front either, regardless of method. There's no leading edge, cleared strip barbs, dull side forward. This method will be tied in no leading edge cleared, and shiny side forward. Now I hope you bear with me. For some it's going to be a little boring. However, this demonstration stuck with me when it was shown to me years ago. As a demonstration, actually as a selling point to Hoffman Hackle. That's how it was shown to me. Was to show me that the new genetic hackle helped solve a lot of problems with winding hackle. And this is shiny side forward. And we'll wind off. I'm not bothering to trim as I whip finish here, so if you see a few trap fibers, that's actually normal. No matter what method you use, you will catch a few fibers in your whip finish or your final wraps. And there is dull side forward, stripped quill, no leading edge used. Okay, the last two are going to be tied in the same method, but we're going to use a clipped butt to the hackle. It's a very traditional method. It's a method I was taught. It's a method I still use. The first one we're going to tie in is going to be dull side forward. And we're going to wrap our hackle. Got a piece of thread floating around there. And what you're going to see, and you should have already noticed, as a common theme to this demonstration, is there's not a lot of difference. A lot of what has been taught is technique, learned technique, or preferred technique. And there you have a clipped butt, tied in dull side forward or dry fly fashion. And last but not least, we will tie in the last clipped portion, and we're going to wrap that shiny side forward, or what I would have been taught and was taught as wet fly fashion. And you say wet fly fashion not just because that's this hackled collar tied like this should be used for wet fly. What the meaning of that is, if you were going to wrap back into the hackle and use it as a wet fly hackle, it would naturally be leaning towards the rear. So as pressure was applied with the thread, it would naturally move back into a cone shape towards the bend of the hook. Same method, same concept is used when they say dry fly fashion, because naturally the fibers are going to lean slightly more towards the front of the hook due to the curvature of the feather. And this is shiny side forward. But for a standard dry fly collar, in average applications, you should see a common theme. The appearance and quality of hackle fibers really is not affected by the method of tie-in. So there we have all 6 of the most common methods used to tie in hackle. Now granted, I didn't use wings, but wings don't affect the tie-in. They do because you have to wrap around it, but it doesn't affect the end result of your hackle. You really don't have to worry about how you tie in good quality genetic hackle. Not all necks are the same, even from the same breeders. Certain breeders are known for having a little bit stiffer quill or a little bit thinner quill, and some of them are known for rolling. I have dealt with them. Still very good quality hackle, but some will have a more of a tendency than others. You have to learn your necks. But the reality of it is, the most important aspect to winding hackle correctly is consistent tension. It's not how you tie in the hackle. It's the quality of the hackle and consistent tension. If you pay attention to those 2 things, that's what's going to get you a clean hackle or a clean hackled collar. The rest of it is personal preference, and most tyers will tie a specific way for consistency, if for nothing else. I'm the same, and I tie in clipped, dull side forward, or dry fly fashion. It's how I was taught. It's what works for me, and it doesn't make it the right way. It makes the right way for me. So there you have it. The correct or not correct way to tie in dry fly hackle. Try them all. Choose the one that works best for you. And enjoy your time on the water. Thank you.